One of the biggest things I get asked from newer agents getting into the business is whether or not they should join a team or whether they should be a solo agent. So today we're going to go over everything you should consider if you're just getting into the business and you're stuck on that. Hey, should I be a solo agent? Should I join a team? Today we're going to break it down for you, go over everything you should ask a potential team lead, a potential broker, everything you should consider there. So we're going to hop into it right now. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Steve. I'm the team lead for the Three Rivers Real Estate team based out of the Twin Cities of Minneapolis. I've produce content for agents who are just looking to level up their game, who are just trying to take it to the next level, or who are just trying to get started, get right after it. So today's going to be kind of a newbie show. If you're just fresh getting into the business, thinking about, hey, should I be a solo agent? Should I get involved with a team? Or you know what? Hey, even if you're a solo agent right now and you're considering, hey, getting into a team, this show is going to be for you. So if you're thinking of getting into a team, the biggest thing you need to ask is why? Why are you thinking about hopping into a team? For a lot of people, they want to be either A, a part of something, or B, they want some security, have someone show them the ropes. First thing you need to ask is why? Why are you considering hopping into a team? For a lot of people, there's a lot of different reasons. For me personally, everything I've heard, teams typically are going to provide you one of three things, maybe two of these three things, maybe three of these three things, but it's going to be the three L's. It's going to be leads, leadership, or leverage. This is what a team lead is going to provide you. So the first one is going to be leadership. And for a lot of newbies, for a lot of people just getting licensed, they're looking for leadership. They're looking for someone who's going to help them, show them the ropes, who's going to answer their phones when they have questions, teach them how to lead gen, teach them about purchase agreements, all these different things. So a lot of times getting involved with a team can be very appealing to you if you're looking for leadership. But there's a couple different areas that you can typically find leadership if you're looking for it. If you're a solo agent and you're involved in a brokerage, a lot of times your broker can provide you with a lot of leadership as well. This is very different depending on what broker you're at. A lot of times your broker doesn't provide you with these things. They're too busy with paperwork, other things within the office. But on the flip side, a lot of times your team lead might not be able to provide you with a lot of leadership either. If you're on a very big mega team, your actual accessibility to the team lead might be extremely minimal. So if you're looking at getting involved with a really big team, I'm talking 30 plus agents, you want to make sure that they have a structure in place, that you're going to have a mentor or someone around that's going to be able to help show you the ropes, to be able to answer the phone for you when those times do come. Because a lot of times the person that's running the show is taking care of a lot of the organizational things that happen with a big team, and they're not able to be there for you every single day. So if you're looking for leadership and you're thinking about a team, when you're interviewing that team lead, you should ask them, hey, what's your availability look like? How often do you take vacation? What if I need something Saturday at 8? Can I count on you? If I can't count on you, who can I count with? Who can I count on? Make sure you're talking to that person and make sure that they're able to answer your questions as well. Like I said, the next thing you might be looking for is potentially leverage. Now, if you're newer in the game, this one might not be as important to you, but if you're an agent looking to take it to the next level, you might be looking for some leverage. How can you leverage your time a little bit? And getting involved with a team is a great way to do that. A lot of teams are going to offer transaction management. So once you do finally get an offer accepted or you have a new listing coming on the market, you hand it over to your transaction coordination team, and they're going to take care of a lot of the paperwork. They're going to make sure all the deadlines are followed and things are moving in the right direction, to take a lot of that stuff off of your plate, so you're not having to run around getting amendments signed, having to worry about a lot of these deadlines that can be very time consuming, and getting a lot of paperwork in. That's also time consuming. We want to be out showing houses, meeting new people, trying to find other people to help. It's hard to do that when you're doing a lot of business and you're sitting down constantly filling out paperwork. So a team can definitely provide you leverage to do that. Now, if you're new, you can still get some leverage here too. You can get a lot of access to their marketing center. If you're new, you might not exactly know how to set up a website or get your business cards or set up Google ads or Facebook ads. Being part of a team that might have a marketing center where they can set these things up for you provides you a lot of leverage here, so you're not just trying to figure things out and reinvent the wheel, trying to figure out exactly when to do your Facebook ads and exactly when to do Google ads, or how to set up open houses. It can be a lot of trial and error, and a good team lead and a good team structure could take a lot of that guesswork out of it for you. And they might have SOPs in place to give you, so when you go do these things, you know exactly what to do. Now you can always add your flair to it, but for the most part, these should be tried and true tactics that your team has seen success with. So if you're looking for a team lead to provide leverage, again, when you're sitting down, you're talking with them, ask them, hey, what systems do you have in place that's going to make my life easier, that's going to help me ramp up and go quicker to get to my goals? If they don't have anything for you, you might want to keep looking, unless the splits are really, really great with that team lead. But if you're looking for leverage, again, make sure you're asking them what pieces of leverage they have on that specific team, and make sure it's for that team. A lot of big teams are just providing you leverage that the brokerage would already be providing you. I see this all the time. They have front desk staff, they have marketing centers, but it's really the brokerage's marketing centers or the brokerage's front desk staff that you're utilizing. So if that's a big part for you, don't pay extra to be on a team when you're going to get those things at your brokerage anyway, and be very cautious of that and ask those questions. Hey, are these specific to our team that you're providing me with these values? Last, and probably one of the biggest reasons I see people wanting to join teams are for leads. When you're just getting started in this business, it can be super scary starting from scratch, especially if you're not from the area. Who are you going to sell to? How long is it going to take you to get that first paycheck? Being part of a team can really cut down on that time between when you start and your first paycheck, as they might have a whole bunch of leads sitting around ready to go. They can hand you off and get you showing houses super duper quick. But this almost always comes at a cost, and it's usually in the form of splits. A lot of team leads, rightfully so, have very aggressive splits when they're providing you leads. Odds are it costs that team lead a lot of money to generate the lead that they're giving you, and they're assuming all the risk. So when that lead does finally close, they're going to keep a big chunk of the pie. So if you're looking for leads, you want to make sure you have some type of structure on what those splits look like. And again, when you're first starting out, it's a good chance those initial splits are probably going to be pretty rough, but they're better than nothing, and it allows you to get your feet wet, build rapport with people. But if you plan on being on a team long term, I really encourage you, as you're negotiating, you're sitting down with them, make sure you have a structure in place to get better splits as you go, so that as you do start to figure things out better and you're better at closing these leads, you're keeping a bigger chunk of the pie. This can be based on units done, volume, whatever it happens to be. Additionally, really pay attention to the splits you're getting on your leads. If your relative wants to buy a house and your team lead isn't providing that lead to you, make sure you're keeping a big chunk of that pie. Now, you're gonna have to give some of it to them, because again, they're gonna be helping you out with some of the leadership and some of the leverage that happens on the back end and the questions that happen around the way. But your split should be better on your own personal leads versus leads given to you by team leads. And I see it all the time. That's not always the case, or they're not significantly better. They might still be keeping 60% of the commission on a relative of yours. That's crazy talk. I don't care how new you are in the business. If you're working with a relative or someone you know, someone you generated, make sure you're keeping the majority of your commission. If your team doesn't provide that, you might want to rethink where you're going, unless you truly just don't have anyone in the area you want to get working quickly. Teams, mega teams with lots of leads might be a great spot for you, but just know that, hey, it's going to be a grind. You're going to work a lot of nights, a lot of weekends, and you're going to keep a small percentage of that commission. And like I said, you need to make sure you have a system in place or something negotiated that commission starts to get better over time as you get better over time. And a lot of times as you start to get better, hey, maybe you can start handling listing leads and things like that. Most of the time when you're starting off, you're going to start off as a buyer's agent, because that's one of the most time-consuming areas, but that's okay. You learn a lot being a buyer's agent. You learn a lot going to inspections. Just learn a lot about the process, but just make sure that there's a path forward that you either A, are getting more commissions, or B, you can start getting some listing leads as you start to move up and as you start to get better at your craft of being a realtor. All right, so those are the 3 big things that I think that team leads should provide to their agents, but there's also a couple of other things that you really just want to make sure you have a good understanding of as you're interviewing team leads. And I think one of the biggest ones is, hey, are you still in production? Are you still out there selling homes in the trenches with me day in and day out? Way too often I see team leads that start getting into the big spot. They start doing a lot of homes. They get lots of recognition, sometimes even national recognition, and they just stop selling houses. All they want to do is coach and run their team. And there's some pluses to that and there's some minuses to that. If they're a big national brand and they're really well connected within the real estate market, they're going to get a lot of very cool opportunities that are going to come their way. But anytime you're not in the field, you're not in the trenches still selling, there's a disconnect that really starts to happen. I learned this in corporate America, and I've seen this so many times in the real estate market where you get this disconnect of what's actually happening in the market. And it's very hard for a team lead to lead when they're not still selling homes. And if they are still selling homes, hey, what clients are they keeping, right? Are they just cherry picking the good leads and giving you the bad leads? How are they divvying up who's working with who? Just make sure you have a good understanding of this. Again, Team Lead has built an amazing business. And there's gonna be some fruits and some labors with that business that they're gonna be able to get, but you wanna make sure that you're still put in a place for success, that you can still grow and be awesome in this business too. And I think one of the biggest things, like I said, you need to understand if your team lead is still actively selling houses or not. And there's pluses and minuses, like I said, to both. Secondly, what other businesses are they potentially in? A lot of times as they grow in bigger team leads, they start owning title companies. Maybe they're going to get into buildings, syndications, stuff like that. Make sure you have a good understanding of where they are so that if they are moving into a different area, they don't decide, hey, I don't want to do this team anymore and I'm gone. I've seen that a bunch of times too. They build a nice business and they sell it off. They sell it off to a different broker. They sell it off to somebody else within the team. Hey, if you're interviewing with this team lead, just have a good understanding that they're in for the long haul too, so you can really rely on them. And if they are planning on kind of getting out, hey, who's going to take it over? Who's next in line that's going to help me build my business? Because having to move around and stuff like that can be kind of a pain in the butt, which brings me to another point. If you are joining a team, always be ready to move. And that this includes brokerages, this includes real estate in general. Make sure you have third-party CRMs, make sure you have third-party emails, make sure you have your own stuff so that, if you do need to leave at some point in time, your business just doesn't go to zero and disappear in an instant. That you have your own email servers, that you have your own CRM with your leads in it, and you can take it and go. A lot of times if you're using your team's CRM, even if you're putting in your own leads, when you go, those leads are staying with them and they're going to start reaching out potentially to your clients and start saying, hey, so-and-so left our brokerage, just want to let you know we're still here to help you. And if you don't have your contacts in a good spot that you can leave with them, you might not be able to get a hold of them. You might lose a lot of business when it gets going. So even if you're on a team, even if you're in a brokerage, again, make sure you have all of your leads in one spot. Make sure you have your own email so you never lose access to that. And if your team lead has an issue with that, again, just really consider, are you going to be with that team forever? Or is there a chance you're going to leave and want to become a solo agent or switch brokerages someday? Just make sure you're able to put your stuff in an area that you can take it with you when the time does come. Additionally, when you're looking at joining a team, you really want to be able to understand how you're allowed to brand yourself. Now, some teams, you're forced to use their branding, you kind of get lost in the crowd. Other teams, very loose, build your own brand under our umbrella. It all depends on how the team's structured and honestly what you want to do. If you just want to be a part of that team for a very long period, probably doesn't matter a whole lot to you. If you're just starting out, you're trying to get your feet wet, get some deals under your belt, you want to be able to have the ability to build your own brand so eventually you can kind of branch out and do your own thing. So have a very clear understanding of the brokerage that you're joining or the team that you're joining and how they allow you to brand yourself and grow your own brand with them. All right, so those are the biggest things that I can recommend that you want to ask any future team leader, really any future brokerage before you join them. Too many new agents just get caught up in, hey, how many leads am I going to get? And they don't stop and think about, hey, What are you potentially losing with those leads? How much commission are you losing? If you're out there and you're chasing a lot of the brokerage leads, you know what you're not doing? You're not building your own brand. And again, if you don't have any intention of doing that, that's fine. But if you want to be able to grow, build your own brand someday, but you spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day, every day, working somebody else's leads or showing other houses, that's great for your income, but doesn't leave you any time to build your own business, to lead gen, to do the networking things that you need to do. So again, if you're networking, or if you're out there just shopping for teams or shopping for brokerages, you can never ask too many questions, and just have a very good understanding of exactly what you're getting into, and try to have a good idea of where you want to go. Make sure you're not just getting lost in the crowd. If you eventually want to grow and build your own brand, if you just want to be part of a team, again, make sure you're getting the leads that you need, you're getting the leverage and the leadership to help you service those leads, and that you're getting compensated fairly for the work that you're putting into it.